Immigrant labor. Canada, which is essentially a country of immigrants, has consistently required the importation of skilled and unskilled workers to assist in its economical development. Prior to Confederation in 1867, a vast number of immigrant workers, most of whom were from the British Isles, had already assumed an important role within the predominantly agricultural and extractive economies of the British North American colonies. Perhaps the most controversial of these immigrant workers were the Irish, who flooded into North America during the 1840s and 1850s in a desperate search for a new life. Because of their propensity for hard work and their ethnic cohesiveness, they virtually monopolized certain jobs in the lumber camps, on the docks, and within a sprawling network of canal and railway camps which stretched from Lake Superior to the Atlantic Ocean. Immigrant labor was also extensively used during the construction of the Canadian Pacific Railway, when thousands of British, American, and European navies resolutely pushed the ribbon of steel westward, while Chinese navies, most of them imported specifically for this purpose, performed the even grimmer task of building the railway eastward through the BC mountain ranges. The tendency to import labor became particularly pronounced after 1870, when Canada began actively participating in the transatlantic labor market. The rapid expansion of ocean and rail transportation made it possible for British and European workers to hunt for jobs in North America on a mass scale. According to one source, about 900,000 unskilled and skilled workers, other than the agriculturalists, arrived between 1907 and 1930. British artisans, with their industrial experience and specific skills, were in high demand, particularly in the rapidly expanding industries of central Canada and BC. Although Canada officially maintained that only agriculturalists were being imported, in practice, thousands of the immigrants who came from Central and Southern Europe between the years of 1880 and 1930 became either full-time or part-time unskilled industrial workers because industrialists and farmers were able to link their economic interests in demanding an open-door immigration policy. Canada has remained a self-proclaimed homeland for immigrants seeking work, but the type of work available has often depended on ethnic background. Preferred immigrants, for example the British immigrants, American immigrants of English stock, and skilled workers from Western Europe, encountered less prejudice and discrimination than Eastern and Southern European immigrants, who as foreigners met with a decidedly mixed reception, the attitude of their hosts varying with time and economic circumstances. Asians and blacks fared even worse, and many of them were only employed for the most grinding labor. Harriet Tubman, the Moses of her time, connected with Canada because the country embraced her mission. Canada enabled Tubman to liberate her people. Abolitionists saw in Canada their dreams of America. Fugitive slaves saw in Canada the promised land, a place of warmth, humanity, equality, and justice. Canada allowed 75,000 former U.S. slaves to freely settle in its territory during the 1800s. Canada has ultimately been a place of refuge for those escaping persecution because it has consistently been on the right side of history.